Welcome, beautiful people. It's been a while since I last dropped a video, but I'm back now and we're going to pick up from where we left off. And in my last video, I told you guys I'll be starting a community centered around sports design where we get to learn and grow together. It will come out by November, so do well to stay tuned for that. Today, we'll be doing a short tutorial video on a poster design featuring Man City and Manchester United. Alright, let's get into the action proper. So here, I picked my normal Instagram size. So the first thing we're doing here is adding a background color. Originally this default is set to yellow, so I'm going to make an adjustment and make it white. Yeah, so if you followed my previous videos, you know that firstly I like to start with arranging the players, making sure they are properly placed before we start adding any aesthetics. So for this design, already know it's a Manchester derby, so we are going to be including 2 of the exciting players that people will be looking forward to seeing in the game, which is Benjamin Sesko and Erling Haaland. Yeah, like when you are designing, you always have to have your target audience in mind. You need to do something captivating that gets their attention when they see it. Yeah, so here we may have Benjamin Sesko, and all I'm trying to do right now is fade the parts that will not be needing, and I'm doing that by creating a mask beside the layer and using my gradients. Make sure it's set to black and white. Yeah, you can find that in basic. So I'm just going to place this right here and then cancel that, head down to my files and search for another image, and this time is no person other than Erling Haaland. Yeah, so here we may have 2 of the exciting players that people will be looking forward to watching during the game. So I'm going to flip this to the other side. You can right click and just click flip. There are horizontal different options. So basically what I'm doing now is arranging these 2 images, properly placing them for the idea that I have in mind. Most people like to sketch before they start designing, but for me, like once I have the picture or what I want to do in my head, like I just go on with it. I really do not sketch, but if it works for you, it's a fine style of design to also do as well, to have a clear part of what you are doing. So here we may have Donnarumma. He's a new signing and he might actually make his first appearance in this game, which is why I'm including him. I spoke about like getting people's attention and making the design more exciting, so when people see this they get excited and want to watch the game because he might make his first appearance today. And also the same thing for the new Manchester United keeper, which is why I'm including him in this design as well. Still talking about excitement and getting people's attention. So yeah, I'm just going to do the same thing that I've done previously, which is properly arrange them, to give me a clear direction of what I want to do before I start adding any other effects. But if you're just starting out, I advise that you sketch on a paper first before you start designing. It doesn't have to be professional sketch, it could be just circles, shapes, anyhow you want to do it, as long as you have a clear direction, because that way it gives you a clear direction of what you want to do and a guide to follow while you're designing. Because most times people open the canvas and they get confused, they stare at it for hours not knowing what they want to do. So yeah, I advise you sketch first if you're just starting out. So here with me, as you know, Manchester City are the home team, so this is a PNG image of their stadium, which is the Etihad Stadium. Yeah, I know you're probably wondering how you're going to get these resources to follow this video. There's a link in the description so you can check to get all of the images used in this video. So yeah, I'm doing the same thing I did for the Sesko image earlier, which is fading the parts that we will not be needing. Alright, I think that's okay. So yeah, I'm going to head back to my files, and this is a picture of Pep. Yeah, not to worry, all of the images will be included. Just check the link below to get all of them so you can follow this video and practice. So I made a selection using Ctrl+T to reduce the size. So the last image that I'll be adding, as you already know, You can't have one coach in the design without having the other, just for balance. So this is a picture of Amorim, the Manchester United coach. So as you can see, our design is starting to make sense. We've not even started, with the aesthetics. This is just basic arrangements, and it's already looking good. So like, this is the power of arranging first before you start adding text or informations. But you can also sketch first as well. When you sketch first, it gives you a clear picture of what you want to do, rather than you doing trials and errors, and wasting more time trying to come up with ideas. So this is a shape I created using the pen tool. I'll create a video separately for pen tool and how to use it to cut out images, images with complex backgrounds. So I'll make a video on that, not to worry. And I'll also show you how to use the pen tool to create shapes just like this. If you're wondering how I made a selection of both, I held shift while I clicked on both of them. I pressed Ctrl T to make a selection of both, so I could adjust both of them together. So right now I'm creating a solid color for the other one. Since it's a Manchester City derby, I'm making it equal. So I'm having a red, which is representing Manchester United, and the light blue, which is representing City. Yeah, so basically all I'm doing right now is adjusting these two shapes, trying to fit them properly into the design. And like, if you've come this far, if this is your first time, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Share this video to your friends, your family, those who are interested. And not to worry, because you can also get the resources. Just click the link in the description to get resources, so you can also recreate this while you practice. And if you check, like, we are not done yet, but you can see the proper use of white space. Like, our elements, images are all well arranged. They are not scattered and they're not all over the place. Like, this is the beauty about arranging first before you start adding effects and all of that. So now I'm going to be adding a background effect. So this is a sky. I'm going to be adding to our background to give it a more realistic feel. And I'm going to repeat the same process I did earlier, which is fading the edge just so it blends well with the background. And you can do that by creating a mask. Go into your gradient map, make sure it's set to black and white, which is found in basic. Then you start fading the edges. I'm going to zoom in so you can have a look at what I've just done. Now if you see, there's no line demarcating the sky from our white background. So like, that's the beauty of fading. Now that that's set, so the next thing we are doing is player treatment, and we're doing that using the camera raw filter option. I already made a video on this. You can do also check back, so you can get all the basic steps that is needed to execute this process. So right about now, I'm just going to rush the process for the rest of our images to save us more time. Yeah, so after completing the camera raw filter process, the next thing we are doing is dodge and burn, and we do that by adding a light curve and a dark curve. After doing that, to create a clipping mask, make sure both masks are inverted, and you can do that using Ctrl I. I always make a copy just to maintain consistency across all of the image that I'm working with, because I'll be repeating the same process for all of them. So make sure to save a copy using Ctrl C, and to invert your mask you do that using Ctrl I. So I'm just going to rush this process because I'm doing it for all of our images. So after completing that procedure, the next thing I do is add a smart sharpen. What this does is makes your image look sharp, makes it look sharp and clear and vibrant. You can choose to do the same percentage like I did, or you can just do anyone that suits what you want to do. So for me, I'm using the same percentage because I want to maintain consistency across all of my image. So I'm just going to rush the process. Don't forget, I created a copy of our dodge and burn, so that's what I'll be using throughout for all of our images. Yeah, so now that that's settled, as you can see, our images are popping, they are looking sharp. So the next thing we're doing is adding food shadows, and I like to create a new layer underneath the image that I want to add a food shadow to. So we're starting with armoring, so I'm creating a new layer underneath him. I'm going to head to my brush, make sure it slants, make sure your color is set to black. You can reduce the flow or you can increase it however you want your shadow to be, but me, I always make sure my flow is on 100%. So I'm going to make a selection using Ctrl T and make it slant just like that. So I'm going to create another layer again, make sure it's still underneath the image. This time it's going to be bigger than the first one I created. Yeah, just like this. So I'm going to make a selection using Ctrl T, make it slant a bit, and then head down to filter, look for my blur option, and then motion blur. Yeah, but I feel like that was too much, so I'll just reduce it a bit, and yeah, that's okay. So yeah, I'll make a selection using Ctrl T, make it slant a bit just like that, and then I already created a mask beside it, so I'm going to fade using my gradient map. Make sure it's set to black and white, and you can find that in the basic option. Now I'm just going to fade the edges. So now as you can see, we already have a realistic shadow, and here we have two coaches, so I'm going to repeat every single step that I just mentioned for Pep Guardiola as well. Yeah, so let me run you through again. First off, you create a new layer underneath pep. You head to your brush, make sure it slants. You can reduce the size, it depends on how big his foot are, you get me. I created a duplicate because this time is both feet, and then I'll create a bigger one just like I did for armoring. But rather than me creating from scratch, I can just make a copy of the previous one I created using Ctrl C and pasting using Ctrl V. So as you are looking at it now, you see that our foot shadows are well placed and are looking more realistic. Let me zoom in so you can have a clear look. So you see our foot shadows are looking sharp and realistic. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you've come this far, and also you can get the link to the resources. Just check the description and you get the link so you can use the same images to practice while you follow this video. And yeah, most importantly, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can't come this far and not do that. You have to do that, bro. You have to do that. But yeah, the beauty about Photoshop is that you can actually do this using exposure as well. You know, create an exposure, invert the marks, use your brush and just paint through the place where you want your shadows to be. So that is another method you can also use, but me, this is the method I prefer using. I'm already used to this one. So yeah, whichever works for you, whichever you're comfortable using, you can feel free to adopt whichever one, or you can adopt both, like if you feel like it. So right about now, I'm just making a couple of adjustments to the shadows we created for armoring. I'm just fading some parts that are too excessive. So yeah, our flyer is looking, our poster rather is looking sharp. And yeah, we're almost done. So all that's left now is our information, you know, match day, the stadium to be played, the time and all of that. As you already know, City are the home team, so it's going to be played in the Etihad Stadium. So I'm just going to input my text, and for the top I'm going to have match day. Yeah, so my font choice, I'm going to be using a font that best suits the kind of design we are working with. So yeah, I have match, so I'm just going to include the next one that says day, but I still want to use the same font, so I'll just make a copy using Alt and dragging, or you create a duplicate using Ctrl G, whichever works for you. So I'm gonna make this day, match day, yeah, just like that. And I'm going to make sure they are properly aligned. So yeah, the next thing we are doing is creating rectangles where our club logos or badges will be included, you know, to signify that this is a game between Manchester City and Manchester United. So I'm going to create a duplicate of that using Alt while dragging, or Ctrl J, whichever one you prefer. Make sure they are both aligned. So now I'm going to change the colors. Red represents United, and blue represents City. Yeah, so I'm going to be going with those two. So I'll make a selection of both of them and reduce the size because I felt like it was too big initially when I did it. Make sure it's aligned with the text, the match day. So now that that's properly set, I'm going to make a group of it and I'm going to name it badges. I always advise you guys to group your layers because trust me, it's very easy when you are trying to make correction or find an image quicker, rather than you having like 20 plus layers and you have to be scrolling just to find the image you are trying to correct. But when you have a group, it's easier because they are in different files, they are in different groups and they are named, so it's easier to find them. So yeah, I advise you guys, always group your layers, always group your layers. So yeah, next up, I'm dragging the United image down here. Oh sorry, the United logo rather. And as you can see, it is underneath the initial rectangle created, so I'm going to change that, make sure it's on top of our rectangle by dragging it up. I'm going to reduce the size and properly fit it inside our rectangle. So yeah, there you have it. So the next thing we are adding is the time, the kickoff time and the venue where the match will be played. That's the stadium. As you know, City are the home team, so it's definitely the Etihad Stadium. So I'm going to include that right here, Etihad Stadium, and the time 4 p.m. I guess. Yeah, 4 p.m. kickoff time. 4 p.m. kickoff time. So just going to reduce the size. It's 4:30 p.m. kickoff time, rather, forgive me for that. So I'm going to make the text bold and increase the size. Yeah, so we have successfully added that. I'm not forgetting the Premier League badge, because when you are designing, people have to know like which competition. Is it a Champions League? Is it a League One match? Is it a Serie A game? A Bundesliga? You always have to include the logo of the league, so, and this is a Premier League fixture, so it just makes sense that we have the Premier League logo embedded in our design. So I'm going to create a solid color, make it white. So yeah, as you can see, I've done that already. I'm going to make a duplicate of those texts, and I'm going, this time I'll make it white and just include Manchester Derby. Yeah, and I'll make the font color white because black is looking kind of odd in that position. So I'll make it white, make a selection, highlight all of them. You can click F3 times to give you a white color, and I'll just place this underneath the match. Yeah, just like that. So yeah, as you can see, our poster design is almost ready. So yeah, let me properly arrange my layers. So the next thing I'm doing is adding highlights, and you can do that by creating a solid color on top of the island group that we created. Make sure the blend mode is set to overlay, then head out to your blending options. Hold Alt while you drag, but make sure it's set to linear dodge at first, then hand down. Make sure you are holding Alt while you drag so you can separate the sliders, just like that. Then click OK. Invert the mask using Ctrl I. Then head to your brush and you start painting the edge of the image. Make sure your brush is set to white and reduce the size because you don't want it exceeding the part where the lights do not affect, you get me? So I'm just going to paint through the edge of the image right now. Given the fact that I'll still be doing this for each and every of the images, I'm going to make a copy of that solid color to maintain consistency across all of our images. And now that I've shown you how to do it on an island picture, I'm just going to rush the process for all of the other images. So for the set school image, as you can see right now, I'm blending the edges, and you can do that by creating a mask beside. Don't invert it. Make sure your color is set to black and just paint the edges to remove the scratch that you find on the image. And now we can add our highlights. So after that, the next step is adding a color lookup. This color lookup, it gives your design a fine tone, makes it look more appealing, and can always play with the blending options to your taste as well as the opacity. So me, I'm going to leave this at normal, and I'm going to reduce the opacity a bit, just like that, and we're good to go. Yeah, for the Manchester United keeper, I'm going to reduce the highlights a bit, make sure it's not too much, just like that. And if you notice the stadium, we have this part that we do not really need, so I'm going to replace it. I'm going to make a cutout and include new ones. So I'm doing this using a rectangle to create a line. Make sure the color is blending with the stadium, which is like ash. So I'm going to make this slant, trying to replicate what I removed initially. So I'm going to make a duplicate using Ctrl J, as many strings as I want. So yeah, we have done that, and this concludes our design. So we have come to the end of this video. If you found this video helpful, please do like and subscribe and turn notifications to stay updated when a new video drops, and stay tuned for the next video that drops. And also, if you have a suggestion for what you want us to do next, please feel free to drop that in the comment section. I promise to go through it. I love you guys. Peace out.